our Bowman Library with a whole new middle grade book spotlight. So for this week, we are exploring some science fiction. What I love about science fiction is there are so many different types of science fiction books. There is something literally for everyone. Because here's how science fiction defines. This is what we're using to guide us through our books today. Science fiction is about things that could actually happen in the future. No matter how far-fetched they may seem, if it could actually happen in the future, scientifically, takes place in space, whatever. That's science fiction. So we have 6 amazing books that we're going to take a look at. They're all a little bit different because, again, there's a little bit something for everyone. So let's get started. Our first one is Space Case. So in the future, Dash lives with his family on Moonbase Alpha. It is the first colony settlement on the moon. Now, when the base's doctor is found dead under some suspicious circumstances, though, life gets a little more interesting, and Dash thinks he was murdered. And he decides that he's going to need to investigate. He's going to have to figure out what exactly is going on. As he starts to dig, he realizes that the doctor had many enemies, and Dash is going to need some help, leading to him making some new, useful friends. Now, this murder mystery is also filled with some incredible science and some possible ideas on how it would be really like to live on the moon. Like, if you ever thought about living on another planet, or the moon, hopefully not with a murder, but gives you some great ideas on how it might work. Now, this is the first in a series. There are numerous others that are inspired based on what happens in Space Case. You will need to read this one first in order to understand the others. But if you're looking for a series, this is a great one to start with. This is Space Case. Silo. This one can get pretty intense. Really like it. So, living on an island off the coast of Maine, Tucker is perfectly okay to live in the shadows. For example, he's on the football team, but he doesn't want to play. He's okay riding the bench. Friday night comes though, the football game's going on, and all of a sudden Tucker finds himself being forced into playing this game, not because he wants to, but because the player that he backs up drops dead in the middle of the game. Trying to understand what happened, because no one was expecting that. That was shocking. Tucker goes on a bike ride that night with his best friend Quinn. And as they're riding around the island trying to come to terms with this crazy event, life gets even more strange for them. Because they see this mysterious aircraft flying in the sky, and it's playing this weird music, and all of a sudden it just explodes over the water. Then more people on the island start dying pretty quickly. And all of a sudden, these soldiers in these red uniforms show up, and they say they are from the federal government. They are in a branch known as Silo. No one's heard of it, though. And they show up, and they place the island under quarantine because they're saying there's a virus, they don't know what it is, and they gotta make sure they can contain this. And all of a sudden, no one knows what's going on. They don't know who to trust because this situation is unthinkable. This wasn't even on anyone's radar. Tucker decides he's going to figure out what is going on with this because there has to be more going on than what they're being told, what meets the eye, because this doesn't just randomly start happening. And as the situation grows even more intense with this group, the Silo group, trying to then give the people these pills that they call Ruby, and they tell them it's one thing, but they don't know if they can trust them or not, if it's even helping, or is this like some sort of experiment they're playing on? No one has any idea. This science fiction meets dystopian trilogy. This is the first in it. It is filled with mystery, suspense, intrigue, and you will want to know what happens next. I will tell you this, there is something at every turn here. Twists and turns, some of the stuff you won't see coming. There is a cliffhanger ending that will leave you at, so you are going to want to get the second one. This is Silo. The Line of Mars. It is 2091 and Belle is just like every other 11-year-old. Only the exception being that he lives on Mars, on an American settlement, and the group that lives there is pretty small. There's him, there's 4 other teenagers, there's 6 adults, and they have a cat. Life is pretty much the same though, as it would be if he was living on Earth. They eat the same foods, they have the same fights, they play the same games. But there's one major difference, okay? So on Mars, they are not the only settlement that's there. There's numerous other countries that have settlements there as well. But they are not allowed to talk, make contact with, whatever, to any of these other settlements due to some, nasty, bitter fights that have happened over the years while this was all being figured out. Now, things come to start to a head though, because when the adults in the American settlements start getting sick, the teenagers plus Belle, they have no idea what they're supposed to do. They have no idea what this is, how they're supposed to help. And the only thing they can think of that's going to help is to try to contact these other settlements to find out if they can help. Has this happened to them? Do they have a solution? Do they have any ideas? But it's against the rules. And it is going to be up to them to decide whether or not this is worth the risk. The science fiction book will have you exploring what it'd be like to live on another planet, as well as you will be there with Belle in his shoes, trying to make this decision because, again, this is what they've been told. They are not allowed to do this, and there are reasons why that could totally disrupt everything. This is the Lion of Mars. 10. Set in an alternative version of the 1930s in Britain, 12-year-old Christopher thinks he's a real boy, living with this unlicensed engineer, because at this time, if you were an engineer, you had to be licensed. He's living with an unlicensed engineer named Absalom, and he makes mechanics. Now, mechanics are these robotic people. So basically, the mechanic is a robot, but then he covers it with a human-like skin, so it looks like a human. That's what he does for a living, and he sells them to people. When Christopher's in a car accident, though, and the truth comes out about who or what he really is, everything changes for him in more ways than what he can imagine. Especially since Absalom has found out that he is unlicensed, he's not supposed to be doing stuff, have this stuff, and Christopher is then taken away by this government agency, and he has no idea what's going to happen to him. It's when he disappears that the other mechanicals that live with Christopher and Absalom, because there's others, they're like their own little family, they decide they need to find him and they need to bring him back. They need to rescue him, even though they have no idea where he is. So they set off on an adventure to bring him back home. Everyone, though, will find out something about themselves, and you do not have to be related to be called a family. This creative science fiction historical story will have you cheering for Christopher and his friends on this journey of self-discovery. I will tell you, it was first published in Britain, so some of the words might be a little bit different than what we're used to, but you can totally still follow the story. This is 10. Star Scout. So middle schooler Avani is the new girl in town. So in order to help her make friends, her dad signed her up for this group called the Flower Scouts. Avani quickly learns she does not like the Flower Scouts, especially since all the girls want to talk about her makeup and boys, and she doesn't want anything to do with that. She's all about action, adventure, and excitement. She's walking home one day, though, and out of the blue, Avani is abducted by this alien named Mabel. And Mabel's going around the universe, and she's collecting or recruiting others to be part of what's called the Star Scouts. And believe it or not, the reason why this is happening is because Mabel's trying to collect her collecting badge. Avani quickly realizes that this is where she belongs, with the Star Scouts in outer space. She fits in with others who are just like her because they're all about adventure, all about the adrenaline, living on the edge, trying new things. Soon, though, the Star Scouts troop that Avani's part of, they find themselves in a little bit of a rivalry with another troop. And it's from there that hijinks and pranks ensue, because now it's all about getting back at one another, who can outdo the other. But again, there could be some pretty serious consequences since they are in outer space. This first graphic novel in a series, you will be along for the ride with Avani. You could find yourself hoping that maybe you would be abducted as well, and you could find yourself in space with a group of others, playing around and competing with other troops. This is Star Scouts. So our last one for today is You Like It Here? Everybody does. 6th grader Meggie has a family secret. There's mom, there's her, and there's her sibling. But they are not what it seems living in North Carolina. They're in fact an alien family. And when they are discovered, they then have to leave immediately because they are not safe. They get into their vehicle and they end up in this parallel universe in a place called Fashion City. And Fashion City, everyone says they're gonna like it. That's why everyone keeps telling them, you'll like it here. But then Maggie starts to like look around and things are a little bit off in this place. They soon figure out that there is a group called the Fathers, and it's this secret group that no one really knows who they are, that they are controlling everyone. They control work, school, fun, they even have a curfew, everyone wears the same thing, no one's allowed to be unique. To Maggie, this is weird. You know, again, coming from Earth where everyone was able to be who they were, she's not really quite understanding this. So Maggie kind of starts snooping around, and then one day she learns a secret about the Fathers that they do not want anyone to know because it will change everything. It will ruin everything that they have done. So in order to break people from the control, Maggie knows what she needs to do. But she doesn't know if she's A, willing, and B, going to be able to actually do that. This is more than just a story about breaking free. It also explores themes of humanity, being yourself, mind control, and you'll be wondering some of the same questions as our main character does throughout our story. This is You'll Like It Here, everybody does. So these are just 6 of the nonfiction books that we have here at the library. So I encourage you to come out, check out one of these, or maybe explore a different science fiction book. Because again, science fiction is one of those, it's all different. There's a little bit of something for everyone. So I encourage you to come out. We can help you find whatever that perfect science fiction book is you're looking for. I hope you have a great week, and I hope you tune back next week when you have a whole new middle grade book spotlight.